What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. And today we're talking college football betting. Friday, week 11, 2-game slate. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. We're brought to you by Bet365, and they have a new limited time deal for you guys. All right, so this offer from Bet365 is available in Kentucky, Ohio, New Jersey, Virginia, Iowa, and Colorado. You are going to click the link in the video description below, make a deposit, bet $5, and you'll get $150 in the form of bonus bets, whether it wins or loses. Must be 21 to play, 18 in Kentucky. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. We have North Texas SMU on deck to kick things off. A game I really like. If you guys have been watching my videos for any length of time, you know I like North Texas, and I've actually gotten burned on them quite a few times, but we're going back to the well here against SMU. 17-point underdogs. They're on the road, which is concerning. 68 total in the game. North Texas is a team I like buying, but I want to start on the SMU side. This team is pretty good overall in efficiency metrics, but there's a lot of noise here. 19th in total offensive efficiency, top 22 in pass blocking and run blocking, 15th on defense, 20th against the run, 4th in pass rush, 44th in coverage. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, this team played Oklahoma in non-con, played pretty well. Played TCU, got crushed 34-17. And since then, they've played nothing but the worst teams in the AAC. This also is a conference which is horrible after they lost most of their good teams to the Big 12. But in this 5-game stretch, they beat Charlotte 34-16. Starting quarterback Jalen Jones got injured in the game. Most of that game was played by Trexler Ivy. Next game, they beat East Carolina 31-10. That's a bottom 3 team in the entire country, quarterbacked by Mason Garcia and Alex Flynn. Next game, they beat Temple 55-0. Stud quarterback EJ Warner was out. This team split time between Quincy Patterson and third-string Forrest Brock. Next game, Tulsa 69-10. Another bottom 10 team in the country. Braylon Braxton and Cardell Williams both played in that game. Most recently, Rice, pretty good team, right? They win 36-31. JT Daniels got hurt in the game. This has just been a wild 5-game stretch of backup quarterbacks, horrible quarterbacks, and bottom 10 teams in the country for SMU. So yeah, they look awesome on paper. Since they got clobbered by TCU, they've played basically 5 FCS schools. Now you look at the other side, North Texas has just been running the gauntlet against good teams. It's a crazy imbalance of schedules. This team played Cal in non-con. Since then, they beat Temple themselves, but then they've lost to Tulane, Memphis, and UTSA, who might be the top 3 teams in this conference outside of SMU. And this team has played well in those contests. Last week, lost to UTSA 37-29 in a game I bet personally. They outgained UTSA 459-421. North Texas threw 3 interceptions, which is wild to me because you look at the Chandler Rogers profile, their quarterback, 63.5% completion for 8 yards per attempt, 21 scores, 3 picks, 3 turnover-worthy plays. This ratio is absurd. Normally, you're seeing nearly double the amount of turnover-worthy plays compared to interceptions, which is not the case here. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. There's positive regression coming for Chandler Rogers, which is crazy to say because he's been so good to begin with. O-line is awesome, 22% pressure rate. Rogers has some mobility, nearly 2 yards per carry. The problem with North Texas is their defense, but they're still 82nd overall. It's not like Preston Stone has been lighting the world on fire. This guy has a 58% completion for 8.3 yards per attempt. And what I can say is if you isolate the actual competent teams he's played versus the weak ones, this looks a lot worse. So I'm a little concerned with this team. I think this is a ton of points to be laying against the best team they've faced since September. I'm going to take North Texas plus 17. We'll see if they burn me again, but I think they should have covered last week. And depending on the line you got, they did at least push. I am in an illegal state and do not have as many options. So hopefully, if you were riding with them, they at least pushed for you. Second game is a really tricky one. It's Wyoming taking on UNLV. The border war, as they call it. 5.5 point spread in favor of UNLV, 50.5 total. And this game is so tricky because of kind of like a difference in level of competition recently. The Mountain West is a weird conference in general. You have some of the worst teams in the country and then some pretty good ones like Air Force, Boise, Colorado State, Fresno. Wyoming's actually played 4 of them in a row. That's literally who they've played. Beat Fresno State 24-19, lost to Air Force, lost to Boise, and then they just beat Colorado State. They don't really have any major injuries right now. They've actually returned a lot of guys, which makes me a little optimistic, especially on defense. 29th in total defensive efficiency, and they've been banged up throughout the year. They're good against the run, 28th there, which is solid, and good against UNLV, who has a good rushing attack. And then on offense, 70th overall. We know what they do. They're limited by Peasley. He's just not a great quarterback. He runs. He's their second leading rusher. The O-line, decent pressure rate, 79th there, but they're pretty good run blocking. They're 8th in the country run blocking. Harrison Whaley's gotten it done for them on the ground. They play this slow, run-heavy, volatile style of offense, which leads to variant outcomes in games, but it also allows them to stay in games and win games they shouldn't. UNLV is a little bit different. Their new quarterback, Jaden Maeva, has been awesome. He's the opposite of Peasley. 65% completion, 8.8 yards per attempt, 10 scores. He runs 4 yards per carry, good offensive line. They have legitimate receivers too, like Ricky White's a Michigan State transfer. These aren't under-recruited kids. A lot of them are high-recruited players transferring to UNLV. So I think their talent profile is just better. And then this team on defense is pretty good, 72nd. They're 105th in coverage, but they're also projected to get back their stud safety and maybe their best player, Jere Williams, who's finally practicing after he had foot surgery earlier this season. So I don't know. I think there's some positives on the UNLV profile as well that aren't being accounted for in the efficiency metrics. If you force me to bet this right now, I have to bet Wyoming. I just have them as the better team in power rankings. Not by a lot. It's very narrow. But you're giving me 5.5 points with that team. They're also healthy. I don't think I'm going to bet this, though. This is probably going to be a stay away. The lean will be Wyoming. But much better game for me is the North Texas side, where you can get them plus 17. Thank you guys for watching. If you have a comment, please leave it below. If you have a question, reach out to me on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. Otherwise, we'll be back again tomorrow talking the main slate. Betting U's already out if you'd like to check that out. Until then, good luck.